The rise of commercial DNA testing and social media has rendered anonymous gamete donation virtually impossible. Even if a donor isn't active on these platforms, they can still be identified via a relative who is. In addition to anonymity being impossible, a majority of donor-conceived people disapprove of anonymous gamete donation and can even experience harm directly from not knowing their genetic relatives. A 2020 survey done by We Are Donor Conceived found that 76% of donor-conceived respondents did not support anonymous gamete donation.
I did donate anonymously originally and later realized that I definitely wanted to be known to both the family and any resulting offspring. One of the ways I would attempt to open up my donation was by following up periodically with the clinic coordinators and seeing if they had any new information for me available. Eventually, I'd reach a coordinator who could confirm there was a live birth, in fact.
I know that agent has my pictures and my background, my education, my family history, all that information. So intended parents know that information that agent shared them. I don't know any of the outcomes from my donations. I would be interested in knowing if there was any pregnancy or baby were born.
I've done both closed donations and open donations. My first donation was completely closed. I didn't know anything about the intended parents. My second donation, I met the intended parents and we exchanged names and identities. The rest of my donations were something in between, where a lot of times I met the intended parents, but we don't have ongoing contact at this time. So I definitely preferred open donation. I liked that it was more personal. The closed donations felt a little bit more transactional to me, which didn't really align with my aspirations. I also began to become interested in the needs of donor-conceived people, and I wanted to make sure that as a donor that I was acting ethically.
I know how many eggs they took. I don't know how many resulted in pregnancies, if any. I don't know how many resulted in pregnancies down the line. I don't know what happened to those eggs, and that will haunt me forever.
When I initially applied to donate, I just chose a couple of agencies, and the agencies basically told me that they only facilitate anonymous donations. When I decided I wanted to donate again after becoming a mom, I started to do a lot more research on the effects on donor-conceived persons. I didn't even know that was a term that existed out there. I didn't know there were communities of donor-conceived people out there either. Being able to talk to those people made me feel like an open donation, if I were going to donate again, was the right choice as opposed to staying anonymous. So if I could start over my whole donation experience, I would go back and donate openly instead of anonymously for my first few donations. I find that a lot of other donors feel the same way, and I would advise former donors who are going through this experience to do what they can to make those anonymous donations more open.
Both of my donations were unfortunately closed. I wanted to be open with them because I grew up with a closed donor, but I was informed that I had to do them closed. When I donated, I was already on Ancestry because I'd been trying to find my own sperm donor, but I also did a 23andMe test. I registered on MyHeritage, just really tried to put myself out on as many different places as possible. I don't have an account with the donor sibling registry, but I check it regularly to see if anyone has requested information about an egg donor with my description in the New York City area. Although I suppose I don't know if my recipients are in the New York City area, so that may require a bit more investigation. But truly, anything that I can do to be present online in case these families want to find me, I am going out of my way to do.
I would advise donors who want to be anonymous to not donate. It's just not realistic with commercial DNA testing. All it takes is a distant relative taking a DNA test through Ancestry or 23andMe to connect an egg donor with a donor-conceived person from one of their donations.
To egg donors who did a closed donation, I feel like keeping yourself open to communication and genetic children would be the best thing you can do at this point. Because if someone finds out they're donor conceived later in life, they are going to only be confused, they're going to be hurt. There's going to be so many emotions that they don't understand, and they're going to feel very lost. being able to be a pillar for that person, if when they do decide to reach out, I feel like would be the best thing you can do as a person who did make that choice to donate.
If I could say one thing to former donors who may have donated anonymously, like myself, I can tell you there are only benefits to opening up your anonymous donation. If you've previously donated anonymously and would like to open it up, the first step you should take is to contact your clinic to see if they're willing to facilitate contact. The next step would be to check out registry sites that will allow you to contact the family. And the other option is DNA testing.
Your other options to reach out to your agency to see if they have any contact with the intended parents. You may also want to go back to your attorney. Your attorney may have a relationship with the intended parents' attorney, and they may be able to discuss this together.
For former donors who are curious about their genetic offspring, I would say keeping yourself open online would be the easiest way to get in touch with anybody. There are Facebook groups of donor-to-see people where everyone is sometimes looking for their donors or just creating groups of other people who they're related to. Both 23andMe and Ancestry, I feel like, are really good veins to keep yourself open to the possibility.
I feel like being able to make yourself more easily findable is going to be the best way to sort of remediate that regret that you're having about donating anonymously.
All donations should be open. All of them. It shouldn't be a question. There are so many more pros to open donations than there are cons. I don't necessarily think everyone needs to be one happy family, because families come in all different shapes and sizes, but the option should always be there. I think there is something intrinsically unethical in withholding the information and telling a child that they are not allowed to know where they came from. And it's not, we don't know, it's that we know, but we're not going to tell you.